Kia ora, and thank you for coming. This is an outcome of my doctorate research, and it's called Go Home, Stay Home, and there is a great divide between people's experiences in hospital and what they're going home to. So imagine your father, your elderly father or your grandfather is in hospital, receiving good care. It's time to go home, but he's deconditioned from his illness and from enforced immobilisation. He goes home and his home's got stairs, his bedroom might be upstairs, and he's thinking, oh help, how am I going to manage my wife who's old and frail too? Or I don't have a wife because she's died, or whatever. So, imagine, just take a time to think, of your home as you know it, how many steps are there to get into your house? When you get into your house and you need to go to the toilet, where is the outlet pipe? Is that behind you? To your left? To your right? These things matter to occupational therapists. When you go into your shower or your bathroom, how big is the shower? How high is the lip to get into it? If you have a bath, where is that situated? Where are the taps? Where does it have a lip that goes right around, or just a lip on the side that you get into? How high is it? These things matter because they have an impact on the kind of equipment that we might supply to somebody, but therapists in hospital, especially in the acute wards, do not have the time to go and visit everybody, so they're having to guess. However, she's Wonder Woman. So my question was, what is the experience of providing, receiving and using short-term loan equipment? It was a hermeneutic phenomenological study, which means that I did some interviews, and from that I took that the hermeneutic part is around you're interpreting and trying to make sense out of their experiences and what you know. I knew quite a bit about equipment and occupational therapy, and I wanted to understand where the patient's experiences, but also the unwritten and the unknown and the uncovered experiences of therapists who provided it. What I found is that short-term loan equipment system is complicated. It's nestled under legislation for ACC and Ministry of Health. It comes under the DHB. We provide and fund the short-term loan equipment because of the said legislation. Occupational therapy, the DHB's constraints around finances are real, and the need to get throughput for patients so that the people waiting can come in meant that early discharge needs to be facilitated. And this is where occupational therapy came in, but it's had its impact on occupational therapy. And we've, to some extent, the focus on the practice in acute wards is not rehabilitation, but how can we get this person out as fast as possible, and therefore what kind of equipment will they need when they go to a house that's not set up for disability. And then we've got consumer expectations. Can I please have a hospital bed because I sleep on a mattress at home? Can I please have this because a neighbour had it and it looked really good? So in order to control our budget and expectations, I set up some equipment prescription criteria. But also in my study, particularly around what works and what doesn't work with this system, I found that if there's and I think that these apply beyond occupational therapy, I think they apply to health in general. And this is a mood of openness. So the therapist and the patient have a mood of openness towards each other where they can talk about what's important, what are their worries, what are their concerns? What do you, as the patient, know about your condition? And what do you think you're going to find a difficulty when you get home? And it's around being open to possibilities, because how many of you would willingly use a walking stick today? And what would that imply for you? And these kind of stigmas and attitudes towards equipment are the same for everybody, you know? Well, we get the range. Some people will take it because it's there and they can see its utility. Others will be very aware of what another person will think about them using a walking stick. So sometimes people choose not to have these equipments, or the public display of disability is a no-no, but they will use things in private. So it also works when there is time, when there's time for the therapist to actually get to know the person, their worries, their concerns, their abilities, so that the interventions and the problem solving can be individualised rather than averaged out and levelled down. You've got a hip replacement, therefore this is what you need and this is what you get, regardless of your height, of your ability to problem solve, of what your house is like. And when there is confidence in each other, when there is trust, when the therapist can understand that the information that they're gleaning is accurate, or when the patient themselves can trust that the therapist is going to treat them with respect, with dignity, will listen to them, and will help problem solve with them. And when the system is flexible enough, I mentioned the criteria for prescribing equipment. That is, if you go to the letter of that, that is quite rigid. But there are times when they have to be broken, because the individual need is such that if I say you can't have temporary ramps, but someone's got a 14-year-old or a 13 or 12-year-old child at home in a hip spiker cast, they can't be left at home alone. So we've got to be that flexible. It doesn't work when their lack of time means things are done expediently but not effectively. So when you're thinking about the throughput rather than the outcome. It doesn't work when you can't get the rapport that you need. So if we say that a patient is non-compliant, that then to me means I haven't done a good enough job in getting to know them. When a therapist doesn't understand that person and understand the complexity of their life, as the earlier presenter said, and when there is no joined up care, like the earlier presenter said, that they get lost to follow up because it's not joined up. The effort and the expediency of getting this throughput meant that there wasn't the attention on following up. So, inflexible system means that sometimes people miss out completely and they need not struggle. And when occupational therapy has to focus on discharge rather than enablement in occupations. So my conclusion is that given when it works, that we enable people to perform their daily activities and occupations at home through the use of short-term loan equipment as one intervention. They can go home and stay home because it's safe, they've got what they need. And we can assist the DHB with early discharges and people staying home, not coming back, presenting because they can't cope. It improves the patient journey, it provides value for money, and it improves the population well-being. I didn't say health, I said well-being, because they've got a sense of control over their life again. Thank you.